I told my parents I want to learn the guitar. I was 13. They said, it's not so important. Do your school. Hello everybody, my name is Dean, or DEANisHOME. I'm a musician from Berlin. I'm 27 years old, singer-songwriter, play guitar, and I come from Bulgaria. So I wanted to make a little video today, podcast, telling you how everything started and about my first year of playing guitar. Why? Because I believe every person who decides they want to be a musician or something like this, they usually have like a story, and it can be interesting for somebody who just started doing music now, or just like, I just want to give you a story. It was 2013 where everything started for me. I come. Okay, let's start from the beginning. I come from a little city in northwest of Bulgaria called Vratsa. It's a mountain city, and it's the poorest region economically of Bulgaria. I come from a normal family with two parents that worked as in the pharmacy, and I had a little sister, 3 years younger than me. I don't have any musicians in my family, so this was never idea coming from my parents. They wanted me to be a doctor or to work in medical fields like them, so I can have enough money to have a normal life when I'm older. When I was younger, I was a lot into computers and video games. I was fortunate enough to have my first computer when I was 7 years old, and I was obsessed with it. I was playing video games every day since I was first grade, and there was one video game that I loved a lot. It was called Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4. It's a video game about skateboarding, and I was very excited about everything in this game, and the soundtrack made me crazy. This was where I firstly start hearing like rock music and punk music, and I was obsessed of the punk soundtrack mostly, and bands like Green Day and Offspring and Blink 182. They really stood up to me, and when I researched to find like videos on the internet of how those bands look like, and I was seeing those people with the guitars and the tattoos jumping and screaming and being very rad and crazy, and I was like, wow, I want to be like these people. So first I bought my skateboard first, and I started riding skateboards and joining the community in my little city, and later on, after the skateboard, I decided I want to learn the guitar. And I told my parents I want to learn the guitar. I was 13. They said, it's not so important. Do your school. My father was very serious about sports for me and my little sister, so I was going to a few different sports. So he wanted to keep me being sporty and doing medicine. I found out there was a guitar teacher in my city. We had a guitar school, not guitar but like music school, but I was not in the music school. I was in the medical high school with a lot of biology. But I found where there's like a guitar teacher, and I just went by myself with my skateboard looking for him, and they told me go to the last floor up there, and I went there and I heard the guitar. I was like, wow. And I come in and I'll introduce myself, and I said I want to start learning the guitar, and he told me, okay, come tomorrow or whatever. And I went, and I didn't have a guitar, I didn't have anything, so I just came the way I am with my notebook, and I think he gave me a cheap acoustic guitar and to practice at home, and he wrote me a lot of things about just like basic stuff, how to tune the guitar, which string is what, and he showed me like a few chords, and he told me come next week, and I went next week again, and I told my mother, my parents, and my mother gave me money for the guitar school. He was like, okay, if you want to try. Went next week, and that week was special for me because I went there, and there was 2 other students before me that were just finishing, but my teacher told me to come and meet them, and I went in the room. There were 2 guys. One of them, Vlado, was my age, playing the guitar. The other one, Ivo, was 1 year older than me, and he was playing the classical guitar. So we talked, and I was watching them play, and Vlado and Ivo, they were listening to the same music I was listening. They were playing a Green Day song or Offspring song, and Vlado was playing one of his original songs that he wrote like 2 weeks ago about the blackboard in school, with a little bit of help of my guitar teacher who helped him write the song. So I was fascinated by them, and they asked me, okay, do you want to be our bass player? I was like, what is bass? I didn't know what bass guitar is. I didn't know any of this stuff. I just wanted to be like these guys from my music videos that I watched. And I said, okay, great, what do I do? And the guitar teacher said, let's make you a band, you know. He started like encouraging us to make a band, and I didn't have a bass guitar. I didn't know what bass guitar is, what the difference is, but my teacher started teaching me what are bass lines of the song. So we start all playing, 3 of us together. I had my guitar lessons for me, and then I was coming to meet them in the beginning of my lesson or in the end of my lesson, when they were coming after me or behind me, and we had like a segment that we were all playing together, and then I was leaving them. They were learning their things. So I was in a band on my second lesson of guitar. I was in a band, and it was like, wow, I'm in a band, you know. And I was practicing at home everything my teacher showed me, and I was very excited about our band. So we started looking for a drummer, and the 2 boys who were living they were going to a different school, to the art school, and I was going to my medical school, and I was asking everybody, and I found one boy who was 1 year older than me, that he said he's a drummer, and his big brother is a drummer. So I took him with us and introduced him to the 2 other boys, and 4 of us became a band. In that time, Vlado, the singer of our band, guitar player, he was also into skateboarding, and we started going together into the little skateboard community in my city, riding and learning from the older guys, and telling them that we have a band now. So in that time, Vlado, the singer, he got garage, like a little car garage from his parents, and he made it into a rehearsal space for us. So we started going there, and then our drummer Yuli brought his drum sets there. I still didn't have a guitar. I was using like an old acoustic guitar that I think it was the one that given from my teacher. So I started saving up money from my school, from my okay. I asked my parents, can you buy me a guitar? They said no, the guitar is expensive, we don't know if you're serious, better go to your school, learn. Like, my father was not very happy with my guitar lessons, but my mother was like, oh, okay, let him do it, so they didn't want to buy me a guitar. In that moment, my mother was giving me money every week for like it was allowance, so a little bit of money that I can use when I'm in school to buy myself a sandwich or a chocolate or a croissant or something to drink. And I started saving the money that my mother was giving me, and I started saving them for guitar. And a few months in the beginning of the summer, I told them, hey, I want to buy a guitar, let's go. And my parents were very surprised that I'm still so excited about this, and we went to the capital, Sofia, to the music store, big music store, and I bought an electric guitar. I wanted actually to play electric guitar. I didn't want to play bass. I was secretly thinking about quitting the band because I didn't want to play bass. I wanted to be the guitar player. I want to play solos. I wanted to play the guitar. So my parents bought me the amp and I bought the guitar and everything. And I went back to my band and I told them, hey, I bought an electric guitar. I want to play guitar. And I'm sorry, but I'm going to quit. So I quit the band and I started learning by myself, and I started looking for people for my own band. And that's a fucking crazy shit because, you know, making a band is difficult in any age. But imagine being 13-year-old and wanting to form a band. You need to find people who are very excited about this music that you're excited, or about music generally. People, and also people who have instruments. Anyway, rock music was not the most popular music to listen to when I was growing up, so I was a little bit of an outsider from my school. Most people were listening to, you know, rap music, Eminem, 50 Cent, DMX, and the pop music of our day. So I was a little bit standing out. I started letting my hair grow in that time as well. I was like, okay, I want to have long hair now. I want to be like the rock star people. And my father starting to getting a bit upset with the way I look, because I had this kind of long hair growing up, and the fact that I'm more thinking about guitar all the time instead of my school. And I was in a basketball team of my city. I was very passionate about basketball, but I realized I don't have time for everything, and I went to quit basketball for guitar. And I remember my basketball coach, he first didn't took me seriously, like, are you quitting the team? Why? And I was like, well, because I want to play guitar. And he was like, he started making fun of me, like, you know, you quitting this to be a fucking guitar musician, you know. And yeah, so I quit the basketball team, and I focused on my guitar. Now I had an electric guitar, and I wanted to have my own band. So I was like researching everywhere, people my age, who else plays the guitar, who plays the drums, who plays what. I found out one of the boys in my class actually also listens to like rock music and hard music, and he decided he wants to be my drummer. He wants to be a drummer, and we want to make a band together. So, and the whole thing happened very weirdly because my father got from somewhere very old, like a marching drum. He bought it from some people on the street because they were selling it, and he thought it's very cool because he found it very cheaply. He bought it, and I was looking for drumsticks, and we had a tiny little music store in my city because of the music school, and I went there to buy drumsticks, and I bought these drumsticks, and I was taking them with me to school for whatever reason, and I showed them to this guy who was into music, who liked rock music in my class, and he really liked them, and we started like drumming on our notebooks in class or like in the breaks, and he was like he wants to buy also drumsticks, and he wanted to be a drummer, and he bought also drumsticks. And we started going to my house, me and him. He was visiting me, and he was just playing the drum that my father bought, and some pants, I think, some bullshit, something that we had in the house. And I was playing my guitar in my room, and we were like, fuck, we're gonna be a band. And we started just doing this once a week, first in my bedroom. When my parents were still at work, I came home a bit earlier after school, and we like practiced for like half an hour. And we were getting very obsessed with it. We were like, fuck, we're gonna have a band. I remember one day, in a few weeks later, we had like a presentation day in school, where I don't know exactly what was the topic about, but we told our teacher, let's let me and my friend go home, because I was living very close to school, like 5 minutes walk, 10 minutes. Let us run home, bring the guitar, and we can play you a song in the presentation day. And the whole class was yay. So we were 13. We went home. We took the guitar, we took the amp, and we took the little drum, and we brought it to school, and we just played them a song, because we learned like 1 or 2 songs, very basic stuff. And I was just like, yeah, that's it, guitar and drums. And the class was like, yay, and it was like a chaos. My teacher couldn't believe what was happening and what's gonna happen and what to do and how to make us like stop. It was fucking loud. I think we kind of woke up the whole school. We became super obsessed with it, so we started looking for other people that can join us. In my guitar class, my guitar teacher was crazy because he had this thing that he was really putting his heart into. He was born to be a musician, so he was really putting his heart into like making us obsessed with music. He was giving us this virus of obsession, and he was forming bands. So after the first band that I joined on my second guitar lesson and then I quit, he was trying to form another band for me. So he had like 2 bands in his classes, in the idea that he can make us compete in a way, so we both become better and better, which is great idea. So there was another guy, a young student, Pavel, that we met, and my teacher suggested he can be my bass player because you need guitar and bass together and drums to have like a trio, like at least the basic of the live music, whatever. So we formed the band, me, my best friend from school, the drummer, his name was Goso, and Pavel, the bass player. So we became a trio, and we started going to my parents' house in my room to practice like once a week, just 3 of us. We still didn't have a bass guitar, we just had this little marching drum and my guitar and guitar amp, and Pavel had acoustic guitar. So our teacher told us he can give us a bass guitar, and he made this bass guitar from like parts, and I bought it from him because I had the money. I had it was like 10 euros or 15 euros, and our bass player didn't want to buy it. Doesn't matter. Well, we had like now the beginnings. Next thing, we need drums. So my drummer Goso, was able to convince his parents that he needs drums, and they bought him drums. So, and then I remember then the next question, where are we gonna play? Because it's one thing to buy a guitar and just practice in your bedroom. It's another thing to have drums. They're loud, they're big, they take up space, and you cannot practice drums in an apartment. So we started looking for a rehearsal space, a place where we can play. And there was one building in our city that was like a youth center. They were making. They were teaching their dances, and there were like theater performances. There were like exhibitions. There was a gallery there, and there was a few rooms that were for painters. And there was a room upstairs, on the last floor, that was a music room. That there were bands there before us. So we went there and talked to the boss of the youth center, and we convinced her to give us the room, and she got us the room with the one condition that we have a band leader. And she found us a band leader, and this guy was old. He was terrible. He was an old man who was playing guitar in a cover band. He was like 50 years old or something like this, and he was always very angry at us, and you felt he didn't really care about us. He took that job because he was getting paid, and he was able to use the room himself with his band. So he brought all of his stuff, and there was a lot of problems with him. For a few months, we were not able to practice there because he was away. Sometimes he was coming late, and it was bullshit. And he told us, "You cannot practice this week because I'm not here." But we went there, and we found out he was playing with his band. So it was crazy. In that moment, I was having a girlfriend. Alright, people, if you're all the way in this section of the podcast, I'm gonna say that this podcast video is about my first year of playing music. So I'm just gonna tell you about my first year, and then I'm gonna stop because it's too much to tell. So in that moment of my life, I had a girlfriend, and it was a very crazy experience with her because she was older than me. And I'm gonna talk about this relationship in a different episode. But she was a few years older than me. I was 13 to 14. My relationship with her was very crazy, but she decided she is also gonna be a musician, and she bought a guitar and she wanted to sing. Actually, this was the way that I get together with her, because I was already playing guitar for a little bit, and when I met her, I was just playing her a little bit of guitar, and she was like, "Wow, we can play together." And we started playing together. She found out I have a band, and she wanted to play with me, to have a band together, and I brought her. So we were 4 people now. Me, Gos on the guitar, Goso on drums, Pavel on bass, and we had this girl Anna playing second guitar and singing. But she really didn't get along with our band leader, this old guy. So we had a few fights together, our band against him, and we were able to get rid of him. And but in that moment, I was also having problems with her because she was older than us and older than me, and she was a girl. She had a different mindset, and we were just like these 3 13-year-old boys, 14-year-old, that are just, boys. We just wanted to play stupid games and run around and throw rocks and, play guitar and ride skateboards and do some stupid stuff. And she was like thinking about further away. She wanted to lead our band in a different direction. I was like, no, we don't want that. We want to do it our way. And it's always difficult when you have when you bring your girlfriend into something you do with your friends, And we were seeing our band very seriously. We were taking our band very seriously. Okay, by the way, our band, it was called Budil, which means like a spike. It's like a spiky flower that grows in a mountain. A bit stupid name, but my father suggested it to me, and we had an idea for a name, so we just took it, and it's simple, easy to remember, short. So we were called Budil for like 5 years. We were playing punk music generally, very inspired by the bands I was listening to. I was listening to a lot of Green Day and Offspring and stuff like that, and I was trying to play music like this. Our drummer Goso was listening to a lot of hard music, a lot of heavy metal and thrash metal and very fast heavy stuff. And our bass player Pavel, he was listening to more quiet, more like traditional stuff, more like melodic stuff. He was listening to classic rock and Kiss and the Eagles, stuff like that, AC/DC. So it was a combination of genres. We get rid of the girl, and later, soon after this, I broke up with her, and we had there was only 3 of us. This is still the first year of our music life. It was very crazy because we were forming a little bit of a little micro-culture around this band, because we had this place that we were rehearsing, and we were 14-year-old kids that we had a room to rehearse with drums and guitars and bass and everything, and we were inviting our friends to come and watch us sometimes, because after we got rid of the band leader that we had, it was the beginning of the summer, so we talked with the managers, and they told us we can go and take the key in the daytime from this time to this time in the week. So we were able to go and play every day of the week in the summer, and we were taking full advantage. We also just in that time we got a singer for another guy who joined us. His name was Chris. He was a very charismatic, tall, big guy who he was not playing any instrument for so long. He was not playing any instrument, but he wanted to be a singer, and it was perfect for us because we had really a singer. I was a singer, but I didn't really want to be a singer. I wanted to play the guitar. So he joined us, and he really quickly adopted this whole punk aesthetics that we had. He started dressing like a, Johnny Rotten and Sid Vicious from the Sex Pistols, and he started imitating the way the punk musicians are acting and moving on when they playing music and everything. And in that time, our bass player was being caught and taken away from his parents to do some village work for the next 2 months in the summer, in the hottest days of summer. So in that time we were all together, the band coming every day in the youth center, just playing all day, and it was the most influential summer of beginning of my, one of maybe the most influential summer of my high school life, because we really believed we're gonna be a fucking band, and we played already 1 or 2 shows and some kind of crowdfunding events. I don't even know what those events were, the first show that we played, but it was we were terrible. We sounded terrible. We were playing as loud as we can. We were not listening to each other very much. We were just like bashing the instruments, but we were having so much fun, and we were thinking we're gonna be big. We had these dreams of being like the next biggest band in the world, We were inviting our friends, and we were just like drinking beer and Coca-Cola and eating chips and playing music every day for the whole summer. Our friends were coming. We had a first like kind of a groupies experience with some of like, once you have a few guys playing guitar and instruments and making noises, and there was gonna be another guy who comes and brings drinks. There's gonna be another guy who brings this, and then it's gonna have a band, and then some girls come that also listen to punk music, and they start chilling with us when we were rehearsing. It was a crazy summer. We wrote a few songs, and we were playing cover versions of our favorite songs, and we were competing in a way with my old band Junkyard, and this band Junkyard was much better than us. The 2 guys that I joined, they played music longer than me. One of them was playing music for 2 years, like classical guitar, and the drummer that I found that joined them, his big brother was a working drummer, so he was like the prodigy of the city, like this young guy Yuli that joined them. He was such a good drummer, so we were trying to compete with them all the time, and it was very hard because they were better than us. We played a few shows together, and they blew us up. But they were always very nice to us, and but this was one of the inspirations of that summer. We wanted to become better than them. We wanted to become better band than them, and I think for this summer we really became much better because playing every day. Then what else should I say? what else should I say in this podcast? I'm thinking now about the first big show that we played that was a complete failure, and I think it was after this first year. Maybe I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna finish the video on this topic. There was this big show coming to our city where one of the most famous rock bands of our day in Bulgaria, called D12, was going to headline, and there was going to be a few other bands in different genres, and they were going to make the show in the biggest high school sport room. How do you say it? Like a basketball room, indoor, with a big roof and everything. They were looking for bands to play. No, they were not looking for bands, but we thought maybe it's gonna be cool if we can play on that show with them. So we were talking to our parents and to friends of our parents, and my mother knew a woman that was organizing this, and she suggested that we come and play 3 songs before the big band, so it can be more interesting. And we went to play on that show, and we failed completely. It was terrible. We sounded like shit, and we didn't care, but like people didn't like us very much. And that show, I think that was very weird, because in our middle of our we played one song, and then the person who was kind of leading went on stage and started talking to us, and I thought he wanted to get rid of us, but we decided we're gonna play one more song, and we have a few more songs to play, and we start playing, and we played the second song, and on the second song the sound stopped, and the whole electricity actually stopped on the stage. So like the lights on the stage went down, the guitars went down, everything went out. It almost felt like somebody wanted to stop us because we were so bad, and somebody just like switched the sound or the electricity. And I'm not like joking you, it was crazy. And in that moment we all look at each other, what to do, and the guitars was off. The only thing that was still on was the drums, because they were on the stage, and drums are loud even if they're not with microphones. So I looked at my drummer and I was like, hey, do something. Because for that first year that we were playing music together, we watched so much music videos, so much concerts. We were completely obsessed into the idea of being musicians and how the musicians live and what do they do. So we knew there were drum solos, and I looked at my drummer and I was like, do something. He just played drums for like, I don't know, 4 months, so he didn't know what to do, and he was 14 years old. So there was the drummer from the other band that we were competing with, Yuli. He went on stage because he was great. He asked, hey, can I do something? And he just jumped on the drums and play a very nice drum beat for like 1 minute, and in that moment the electricity went back on, and we went off stage. We were like, fuck, okay, it's time for us to go down. They told us, thank you guys, but that's enough. We went down, and we bombed. We didn't play very well, and this was very, very kind of sad moment for us, but we all get super motivated that we're gonna become better next time. And what was the first problems that I had to deal with when I was in my first year of playing music? My parents, first of all, because even though they were supporting it a little bit, my father was very much against it. My mother was supporting it because she wanted to help me, because she saw I really love it and it was making me so happy. But my father didn't like it at all. He was telling me it's stupid, it's bullshit. In that first year, me and my drummer and the bass player, we all started letting our hairs grow longer. We wanted to have long hair, so I had like hair up to in the like up to here, but in the first year it was up to there. Me and my drummer, we both had this kind of huge bushy hairs. I had like a brown hair, he had like a black hair. It was interesting. Everybody knew in school who we were. We played one show in my school, and the show was great. There was like some kind of a event that they were it was a Christmas market. One of the first shows we played together as a band was the Christmas market in my school, and in that market kids with their parents were making cakes, and guests can come and they can buy the cakes for whatever price they choose, and the money went to the kids without parents, to the orphanage in our city. And we went there to play 2 songs, and we played very well. I mean, not very well, but we played as strong as we can. Like, we were doing all the tricks, I was falling on my knees, like playing a guitar solo like a guitar hero or something like this. Our singer was just like screaming and doing all the moves from Sex Pistols, like jumping and like dancing with the microphone stand up and down, and the drummer was hitting the cymbals very hard. We were all playing very strong, very emotional, and we were playing a song by the Ramones called Blitzkrieg Pop. And there was this part of the song that everybody's singing, "Hey ho, let's go! Hey ho, let's go!" Da 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 da. And in this part, we were all like screaming it all together, and we made all the guests, all the kids in the audience, they were all screaming with us, "Hey ho, let's go! Hey ho, let's go!" And like it was so loud that nobody can hear the guitars, because we were playing guitars in the small little amps. Like, I was using a guitar amp as big as this, so like little 15 watt, 10 watt, 20 watt amp, and the drums were louder than my guitar, so it was wild. But this was, those 2 shows were my first good show and my first terrible show that I guess I'm gonna remember forever. But both of them happened in my first year of playing guitar. In the first year that I played in 2 different bands. I joined one band, and I quit, and I formed my own band in the first year. And I really believe that this was the moment of my life. I really decided I want to be a musician. I want to do that thing. And even though I was 13 years old and 14 years old, this was what I wanted to do. And it was very, very nice. It was very interesting. I was completely obsessed with this thing. My whole life became around this. And I'm gonna maybe end it here now and give you another episode next time. In the next episode, I'm gonna tell you how we get rid of our singer and why, and about our second band leader that came to join us, who was amazing, and he was a musician from another band, and about our first festival that we played, and a chain of festivals that we played and we made ourselves. So thank you for watching, if you watched till now and listening. This was my first podcast on this topic about how everything started, and my first year of music, where I started playing guitar. I bought my first guitar. I already played in 2 different bands, and I played my first 2 shows. One of them was great and one of them was terrible. I played a few other shows in that year, but they were not so important. So next episode is gonna be more interesting. It's gonna cover the second and the third year of my guitar music journey. Anyway, hey, I don't know if you like the shit. I became a little bit I don't know how to say it. I was thinking about my past, and oh yeah, oh fuck. Let me. I don't know if I should make more of this like podcast. Let me tell you another story of another show that I remember from this first year, and then I'm gonna end it. I think this was actually the first show we played, the first show that I played. Yeah, this was the story of the first show, and that first show was another event that was. I don't know what it was about. I have no idea what it was about. It was about some again something cultural of the city. I don't know what it was like, but the event was made in another like culture center or some kind. No, it was health center. Oh yeah, so the event was about organized by the health department of our city, and there was some calls against the drugs. Yeah, against drugs. It's crazy because I'm smoking a joint now when I'm talking about this. Yeah. So we went there to play. Me, the drummer, and Chris, the vocalist. Our bass player Pavel was for some reason not with us. Yeah, or he was with us. Was he with us? I don't remember. Yeah, he was with us. I think it was 4 of us. So yeah, we were going there to play against the drugs, and we were going to get the cake in the end. We went there with the drums, my guitar little amp, and another little guitar amp for the bass guitar. No microphones. We didn't have a microphone. We went to the event. There was no microphone. There was no stage. There was like a corner of it looked like bakery coffee shop room on the second floor, and with a hard floor. The floor was almost like the floor in your bathroom, you know, those hard squares. Fuck, how is it called in English? I don't know. Well, this kind of slippery thing was on the ground, so it was hard surface on the ground. So we put the drums on this thing, and the drums were like sliding. The drums were sliding everywhere. So when my drummer kicked the kick drum, the bass drum, this big thing that like boom, you know, when he kicked this thing to make the bass sound, the drum was like moving forward. So we did like a little mini sound check for like a few seconds, and my drummer looked at me and was like, Dean, my drum is moving. Yeah, my drum is, and he said, Dean, can you look back to me, and when you see me with the drum moving, kick it back towards me. So I had 2 jobs for the show: to play my guitar and to look back to my drummer after 20 seconds and to kick back his drum back towards him because it was sliding forward. So yeah, we went there, we prepared to get on stage in this corner of the room to play our 2 songs or 3 songs. I think it was 2 songs, and there was a lot of balloons on the ground. So we just started with like, hey ho, let's go, Ramones song, and something else, like something by Sex Pistols. I think we played Anarchy in the UK. Yeah, Anarchy in the UK by Sex Pistols, and Blitzkrieg Pop by Ramones. So we played those 2 songs without a microphone. The singer was like screaming, like without a microphone. We were playing the drummer was hitting hard. I was playing as hard as I can. The bass player was playing as hard as he can, and we started like breaking the balloons in the middle of our performance to make like a dramatic. I was falling on my knees again, doing my moves, and my drummer told me, Dean, my drum. So I had to turn back to him and kick back the drum. So in the end of the song, or in the end of the second song, yeah, when we finished, we saw that the bass, like it was such a wild bad sound in this place. No microphones, the drums louder and everything. So we didn't hear what was happening. So after we finished the show, we noticed that the bass was getting unplugged because the cable for the bass was very short, like 2 meters, 3 meters. So we were all like moving and dancing while playing, and the bass player Pavel was like because he like pushed the bass so hard, the cable went out of the amplifier, so it unplugged itself in the middle of the performance, and we didn't notice. Nobody noticed. We were just like screaming, and our audience were just like 10, 15 older people that were working in the health center. So yeah, I guess they were just like waiting for us to finish. It was terrible, but we got our cake, and we went to eat the cake in our rehearsal space, and it was like, wow, we had a cake, we played music, we're fucking rock stars. Nobody gives a shit that we didn't have microphones, that the bass was unplugged. Nobody cared. The drums were sliding. But it was punk rock, it was rock and roll, and we were 13 years old, 14 years old. And yeah, we had this fucking dream to become big, you know? And then those 2 shows later that I told you. So let me finish on this. And thank you again for listening to this podcast, watching the video. I like to talk. Maybe I'm talking too much. Maybe I'm going off topic a bit. But yeah, I'm making this, thinking back about my past. So yeah, next episode is gonna be, we change our singer, and we got a band leader that was super cool, and with him we organized our first festival in our city. And I'm gonna tell you about this because it was a big trip. It was first time we saw big stages, and what it's like to build a stage, what it's like to host a festival, what it's like to invite other bands and talk with them and play on a big stage with big sound system and big like lights and smoke machines and all this beauty. I'm gonna tell you about this that we organized. I'm gonna tell you about this in the next episode. Okay, thank you for listening. My name is Dean. I'm dropping a new album this month, the end of February, beginning of March, called Club 27, because I'm 27, but I'm turning 28 in March, so it's gonna be the last album from being 27. I have like another 15, 16 albums on Spotify, so feel free to listen to those, stream those, and thank you for watching. Ciao.